Okay, so guys, I'm back. I noticed that you selected the team Prophecy Things against Cyan. This is taken from the group E. Yes. Okay, so the winner can face General or Eulaine. It's definitely interesting, especially because Cyan is a quite strong AI. But we've got Shadow, which is maybe one of the favorites in this tournament, which will team with Morrigan, Reactionary, and Kelly. The first match is going to be a 1v1. Then we've got a 4v4, and at last a 2v2. And Cyan plays as Aztec, Breton, Celt, and Mayan. So the 1v1 is going to be Aztec Cyan side. And the opponent is Kalin, if I'm right. No, it's Reactionary. And so Reactionary plays Byzantine. So I will need to open Captive Rage once again. Okay, it might be better now. I will decrease the music. Yeah, it might be better that way. So as I said, it appears like a window, but when the game starts, it will go full screen, so no worries about this. So in fact, normally it is Reactionary playing the 1v1 to prevent the repeat. So the leader of the team needs to have no team as in solo. It shouldn't be a solo player beside this team. Okay, so I think that everything is fine. Capture rage is on. Fast speed is twice the speed. Byzantine against Celt. Here we go, man. Okay, just to fix something. Okay, it's normal speed, twice the speed, to prevent the potential bugs. So just let me know if everything is fine. Okay, that way it might be fine. I just change the name of the players. Okay, so I think that everything is okay. So blue is at the right of the map. Actually, it did find the ships. We've got the same amount of villagers. Well, not the same, I would say, but maybe Cyan delayed the loom. Well, blue doesn't have loom at this point. And red does have loom, so it means that blue had some trouble in the early game. Well, I don't remember the strategy Cyan side. The previous Davis Cup was 2 years ago and I didn't test much the AIs the last 2 years, so I just don't remember. But it probably might go for some feudal rush. Trash flush, then switch for eagles in Castle Edge. Okay, yes, it might be this. There is a Davis Cup web page, in fact, I can share this with you. This one. Hello Twist, you're welcome. You're just joining while Davis Cup 6 is starting with the opening game. So Cyan side, we've got 2 archery ranges. It smells skirmishers. Yep. Other side, Reactionary is at least in feudal age. Oh, it's losing 1 villagers on the boar. We don't see any barrack at this point. Okay, we've got 1 market. Okay, it means that Reactionary goes for a fast castle maybe, selling its resources. While Cyan is already massing its army, composed with skirmishers, a bunch of spearmen. Well, Reactionary does have the food and the gold to research Castle Age. The blacksmith is missing. Okay, we've got an outer range instead of blacksmith, which is going to be the second building required to go castle. Oh well, I'm scared it's going to be too late. That's a lot of trash units. What Reactionary can do without gold? At least it does have a lot of gold stocked with, well, stored, almost 300 gold. And it goes for skirmishers. But in front of Reactionary we've got already 27 military population. Okay, that's a good point. We see that the second mining camp is built. At least a stable can be a good option. But so many villagers are already idle because of the science push. Well, as I said, Cyan is a solid AI, which is already researching Castle Age for a decent 25 minutes. Yeah, the problem is actually the issue to get the food required to train units. Reactionary's side, it definitely needs a bunch of knights. Well, Cyan goes for 4 archer ranges, 2 extra TCs, 2 barracks, I actually don't know any eagle except the one exploring from the start. Well, now with six knights, it could be enough to clean the opponent. I'm scared that this new university won't be built. Well, the population is actually growing fast, Cyan side. I definitely would have liked to see those knights going outside of the stable and just destroying this army. But I'm scared that the population is too low reactionary side. That can be the explanation why the knights are just not sent to the fight. Okay, I'm scared that this is the end of the game with this ram. Okay, so we've got our first score 1-0 for Cyan. Well, I would say that it was predictable regarding the fact that Cyan is really a solid AI. But it's gonna be pretty interesting to see Calynndohtor, Shadow and Morrigan joining the battle for the 4v4, which is the next match. The next game, I mean. And don't forget that this is a best of 3. Okay, so at this point I think that I can update the score, giving the victory to Cyan. I just would like to see the Rams destroying the stable to see the Knights in action. But anyway, look at the population, 140 against 12. Okay, it's time to leave this game. And Cyan was already researching Imperial Age. So, here we go for the 8th 4v4. I think that this game is gonna be funny to watch. Okay, so we'll need to hop. That shadow is gonna be flank. Yeah, let's hope for the best. Fireball. Sorry about the trouble. Okay, so next is the Morrigan and Calynndohtor. Okay. So we've got Calynn as hands, Shadow as Viking, the Morrigan as Celt, Cyan as Aztec plus Briton, Celt, and Mayan. So, just let me know if everything is fine concerning the civilization selected. Oh, okay. In fact, Calynn space Spanish. That's it. Yeah, thank you guys for this information. I just forgot. It's something I need to fix with the bracket. Okay, so let's say that everything is fine this time. Okay, so Shadow is green, and unfortunately he's gonna be pocket, the pocket of Reactionary, while other side we've got the Morrigan pocket and Calynndohtor flank. Sometimes Cyan turns to be weak in Imperial Age because of some bugs. Sometimes Cyan refuses to attack in Imperial Age. So I don't know what is gonna happen in this game, but let's say that Shadow being pocket doesn't mean that the team will lose. Yeah, don't worry, Fireball anyway. Tournaments are used to fix some issues, so this is definitely a good opportunity for Shadow to learn how to play as pocket. Shadow is on flank? Yeah, Shadow is pocket. So it's gonna be interesting to see Calynndohtor's side because I didn't test much Calynn. I just checked to be sure that Calynndohtor was adapted to AOC. But I don't know much this AI, to be honest. It's a pretty new one. And I'm curious to see if the Morrigan does have a specific strategy as pocket. I know that as flank it goes for militians, it like to rush. So at least rushing can work as pocket. So in any case I think that the Morrigan can be a beast in this game. Yeah, in fact, MrElephant, but it doesn't. I don't care much anyway. You can keep talking, no problem. Okay, so we've got the barracks for Shadow. Calynndohtor like to take its time with a feudal age in 15 minutes. Well, Reactionary looks to have a pretty solid and decent Dark Age overall. At least it's faster than Calynndohtor in researching Feudal Age. But let's see what's gonna be the strategy. Okay, it might be a fast castle. As Spanish, we can expect some knights, which definitely could work, especially against those mid skirmishers offered by Cyan. Okay, it looks like Shadow is already sending some knights. That's promising. I'm curious to see what is the opponent chosen by Shadow. It looks to cross the whole map. It's maybe targeting the yellow player, which definitely could work, because Pocket doesn't expect to be attacked that early against knights. Oh, we've got one castle already for Morrigan, sorry. Okay, so here we go with Shadow attacking Red. Red looks to be prepared against Knight with a bunch of spearmen, but I'm scared it won't be enough. And already we've got Scalbarding for green. While purple is actually attacked by, well, is actually attacking blue. And in fact, Shadow doesn't help, but at least it's useful by the fact that it's attacking his side. Well, I think that in this team there is no coordination between flanks and pockets, but anyway, I think that it's still working fine. The deal is not to die for grey and blue at this point. Well, Orange is in a big trouble actually. He does have 47 population. He has less than blue. Well, Red managed to survive with those two towers, a bunch of spearmen and eagles. Oh, interesting, Blue and Teal are eventually attacking the same guy for some reasons. Maybe because the Morrigan detected that Orange was already pretty low compared to the other opponent, I don't know. But these 2v1 definitely should work. Actually, Calynndohtor is fine. It's Castle Age, it's building a 30C. I think that this team is definitely interesting. It just needs a bit of coordination between the AIs. And at this point, the Morrigan looks to be unstoppable. I think that at this point Blue is almost the punching ball of the team, but it's surviving, so it's all what the team needs. Blue is making purple busy, while the other Cyan are just suffering. Well, yellow is actually fine. But I think that yellow didn't attack any opponents. For some reason, Cyan took the lead in the score. The game is quite even. I don't see much trade between the AIs. Well, at least we've got Morrigan, which is trading with blue. Okay, sorry, my microphone was far from me. Maybe you didn't hear. Sorry about this. We see something which looks to be a coordination in Cyan's team, with red trying to help purple. Interesting to see that as Spanish, Calynndohtor goes for men at arms. Maybe because the opponent is Mayan? Well, as I said at the beginning of the game, Cyan tends to be a bit slow and weak in Imperial Age, partly because it stays maybe too long Castle Age, and the transition to Imperial Age is not great. So this is a real opportunity here for Morrigan to punish this, especially against yellow. And of course the Scorpions work so well against the longbows. And Calynndohtor is just booming peacefully. Nice to see Reactionary in action with a bunch of armies this time. Some knights, some monks, some two-hand swordsmen. And the game is still pretty close. The whole Cyan managed to survive at this point. Purple is low, but it does have two castles in the front, which definitely should help. I don't see any trade for Shadow. That can be an issue. Well, I think that the economy balance Cyan side is not great. Looking at the amount of food for yellow, orange, red and gold is missing, preventing Cyan to research Imperial Age at time. And I see that Shadow is staying in Castle Age, but it's keeping using its whole resources to keep pushing its opponent with the knights. I think that Shadow doesn't like much to boom. I see one TC only. It's maybe why it looks to be so slow. Well, the Morrigan is just doing something great here. It helped so much Calynndohtor, it just saved his ass. That way Calynndohtor is gonna be the second AI researching Imperial Age after the Morrigan. So as Spanish, what can we expect? At least, yeah, Conquistador, that's fine. So here we go, Morrigan. Keep pushing orange. Oh, yellow is eventually bugging. No more farms for yellow. This is one of the bugs I remember now. When the game tends to be long, Cyan just fail because of some bugs. Probably something related to the escrow rules. That should be his explanation, because looking at the amount of wood, there is no reason for no farms. I think that we can already say that the score is 1-1. It means that we will have a pretty exciting 2v2 with Reactionary plus Shadow against 2 Cyan. I definitely would have liked to see Reactionary as pocket. I don't know how it would work. But fortunately Shadow did the job as pocket anyway. He did attack, it did help a lot. Oh, Calynndohtor started trade after 1 hour of the game. Is definitely a bit too late. So orange is dead. Blue is almost dead. Interesting, it deleted its farms. I would like to see blue booming in a safe place. I don't know if it does have the rules required for this. At least the Morrigan knows to trade. Well, that's a lot of mining camp and lumber camp. Maybe a problem with the distance. Okay, we've got eventually Calynndohtor attacking after having reached the 200 population. That's definitely an interesting team, in fact. Okay, and we've got Grey in action eventually. I don't know if blue does have one TC somewhere. I don't think so. Okay, so it's just question of time now. So yellow is buggy. Purple is doing actually a good job, but not much help with red. I'll increase the speed at this point. Oh, we've got one TC for blue, a second one. That's nice. It looks like those villagers just want to leave the map. Okay, so let's go for the 2v2. The scoring is 1-1. So, Reactionary Byzantine plus Shadow Viking against Cyan, Aztec and Briton. Here we go. I will decrease the speed to be back at twice the speed. And let's go. So this game can definitely be crazy, with Shadow, which should dominate, is a yellow player, while blue needs to survive against red. So it's all about how green and red will be fast in winning their side, I think. But Reactionary showed that it definitely can survive quite a long time, so maybe Shadow can take any benefits from this. And in the long term, I think that Shadow can win in 1 versus 2 against Cyan. But that's gonna be hard, definitely. And in case you guys want to see another match after this one, just let me know what is your choice. We've got a lot of promising ones. But in fact, I'm very happy to have added some teams, not only solo players. It makes this tournament pretty funny to watch. And it probably can force people to adapt their AI with his AI with the other AIs for some coordinations. Almost like an old tournament which was called Blame Your Mate. I think Reactionary definitely needs Loom to be researched in the early game. And for some reasons it tends to lure the boar after having reached Feudal Age, which is kind of weird. Okay, Shadow is prepared to attack. It should have found its opponent, which wasn't that hard to find anyway, regarding the map. So here we go. Yellow is already prepared with a bunch of skirmishers, but fletching is missing. Okay, so let's see some good micro here. Any reaction from Cyan? Oh, that's a very bad timing for Cyan. Okay, it looks to be an easy meet for Shadow, so that's a pretty good point. And for some reason the red looked to be quite slow compared to yellow. Yellow had much more army before Shadow started to kill it than red. That's why red is so passive at this point. It makes Reactionary quite safe while researching Castle Age. So the game is turning pretty good. For Prophecy of Crows burn things. Okay, red, go. Here we go. Attempt to make some damage. Unfortunately, there is no stable this time for Reactionary. Nice macro here with a bunch of archers, just killing the remaining villagers in the back. So just survive, blue. Just survive, it's okay. Okay, we've got one stable. That's pretty interesting how Shadow managed to split its army. One staying focused on yellow while the other one is attacking red. That's pretty decent. Okay, red and blue does have the same population. And Shadow is definitely not a booming player. One TC only, that's all what it needs. Oh, we've got one knight left. Pretty decent kill ratio for Shadow, 114 killed and 30 deaths only. Well, there is definitely an issue with the garrisoning of units for Reactionary. Oh, inventory, they all have ungarrisoned. Okay, so as expected, Shadow win almost in 1 versus 2. Reactionary managed to survive the time required, but Shadow was just insane with a pretty strong micro. The good use of the army switching for the enemy as soon as it could. Okay, so congratulations, Prophecy. I'm gonna update the bracket. So the Prophecy will play against the General or Heulen, the winner of the second match. So let's say that it should be the General, so we've got already a great game which is coming for the Prophecy team in this Group E. So at least I think that there is some issues with Reactionary on AOC. I'm sure that it's something which can be improved to make it play as it's supposed to play, at least in the definitive edition. Okay, so that's it for this first match, 2-1